Hey everybody, I am Pops, and welcome to another comic book review slash reaction is King Spawn. That's right. When I left off at King Spawn, issue number 10, black and white and red all over, a beautiful work of art. I couldn't have been sort of more thrilled with my Spawn universe and what had been going on up until this point. And here I'm going to talk about several issues because I got to be honest, and I'm not. Make sure I understand what I'm saying here, folks, and I do apologize because what I'm saying is they're losing me in the sense of the excitement that I had and the way I feel about Gunslinger Spawn. So let me explain it this way. I'm going to go through issues 11 through 17 in sort of the framework of this story, the different characters, things that are going on, and I'm going to say this. I think they've flipped the script and Sean Lewis has kind of messed it up because they've just drug it on for the equivalent of 6 months. Here's the issue: Gunslinger Spawn has this one overarching issue, right? He's got to find a way to get back. He's got to get back to his time. He's a man out of time. So there's constant conflict or things that happen where he doesn't understand what's going on around him. He needs Taylor as a sidekick to help with maps and reading and different elements. And then at the same time, he's interacting different supernatural characters and he has his list, his kill list. He's going through that. So that's his adventures of the month. King Spawn has the overarching story of, you know, will he take the throne or not? You're introduced to everything from the Council of Priests to the Spawn Killer to Gaia to the Clown. You have all of these different things, and there are moments where you sort of almost have like a self awareness with Al Simmons and Spawn of all these people just want to manipulate me, and I'm a pawn, and I'm whatever, and they're using this concept of saving Wanda or something, and then they're using this also as a leverage point to pit Spawn against Terry Fitzgerald. And at the end of the day, it's almost like it's backwards, right? If you want to have some of those elements of this is kind of the overarching thing, but we have to kind of move the story along. And instead, we don't get a lot of that. The story it feels just very repetitive and stagnant at times, even though it doesn't necessarily do things badly. It's just I just don't care as much. I don't know what to say. I think that trying to find the right shape to go with here to give you guys a feel for the art is still magnificent. It's beautiful. And you have these moments where things are sort of rehashed and you kind of understand what's going on. And he's going around, he's being very vengeful. He's taking out different characters that we've been introduced to. And of course, people don't die. You're in this supernatural world where it's like a lot of torture and torment and violence and chaos. And you have all of these things. And so much of it is done well, yet because it's sort of like dragging along so slowly and there's not a whole lot of real change in things. Like it doesn't seem to matter a whole lot. And I will say, I'm in it. I'm not ditching the book and I look forward to it more than I do other stories. Um, if nothing else, just for the fact that you do get you get these moments of just this beautiful, beautiful work that's done, but you also get it just keeps going, just keeps lingering sort of on, and I just sort of kind of like, okay, here's another issue, and not a lot has changed, and you just I don't quite understand why that is. Oh, and they also sort of break one of my rules, and they do this more than once. I don't like this, guys. Image, you should know better. I can't stand the bait and switch cover stuff. You end up with these covers, and we end up with like this massive presentation, and then it's like that's not what the book is about. Or the character's not even in the book. They do that a couple of times in this story arc. I did enjoy like Raven Spawn. I think you have a lot of characters like you don't know too much. It's like they almost. I'm so intrigued um, by things that they bring in, and yet I don't know that they have sort of a. Do they have an end game? Maybe that's the best way to work. I don't know if they have an end game for me to understand um, what they're trying to accomplish. Like for instance, I really enjoyed this character, Nightmare, right? Introduced here, and then you get introduced to this character and Comox, right? And you sort of have some of this. You have this sort of cool elements here with the child's protector, but then you have a scene where they're injured and you see how they're related and how all that's fine. But it sort of like doesn't give you much. We'll get to Raven. Here's Raven Spawn, right? It, but nothing matters. Like it's like, well, is he going to take the? Is he going to take the throne? He's not going to take the throne. What does that mean? It's we just end up in this vicious loop of conversation. Not a lot changes. Spawn acts out. Are they manipulating him or not? You have some of those things. Um, you have all these moments. You have this almost like wasted pages of stuff with Terry and what he's doing or not doing. Um, again, I am not going to criticize the book on the scale of try to say, it's like it's not as bad as some of the other stuff. And by the way, and kudos to them. This is jump ahead to issue 15 because you do get this is the clown. The clown shows up. We get a completely different artist, but everything stays very consistent. Like we don't get like taken out of our book by having people draw. The entire book becomes this chess metaphor, and it's like this long drawn out back and forth with chess metaphor. And I'm like, okay, but the art is great. Make sure I get his name right. On that because I don't want to disrespect because Fernandez is not on this issue. It is Thomas Knocklick, Nachlik. He does a fine work indeed. But the most important thing is it's just consistent. It's the same. It's consistent. For Javi Fernandez to get a month off, and again, like I said, this is not as though I'm bashing the book or won't read the book. You get these, the art is top notch. The storytelling is fine. But Sean Lewis, look, what's your in game? Like, oh, this is beautiful, by the way. I love this character. Brimstone's brought in like this Ghost Rider knockoff kind of thing, carrying a machine gun. He had the Angels in this big fat battle that's playing out. There's all sorts of conversation, wasted time about the Psalms Warrant 137 stuff, and okay, get on with it. Can we just move on now? It's just been too long. Now we're 17 issues in, and not a lot has changed since the beginning. We had some information. It's kind of evolved, but now you have so many characters and so much convoluted stuff. You have all these spiritual and biblical allegories that you're going for. But I have to be honest, Sean, that you don't sound like someone of faith that knows what you're talking about. You just sound like someone who's Googling stuff or using Chat GPT to look some stuff up. And it doesn't translate as well as you think it does, in my opinion. I don't personally care for it. It's not as engaging as it used to be. Maybe it's just, again, like because the stories have gone on for so long, it's just sort of like worn thin. That makes sense. And I just think that Al's obsession with the Wanda thing has sort of been like played and overplayed so many times now that I've lost interest in that regard as well. So I haven't caught completely up. There's a few more issues for me to be like in real time. I almost don't want to be in real time. Like I enjoy digesting the book in chunks like this, where I can do 3, 4, 5. In this case, I did several issues. I did like 6, just because I was waiting for sort of like this big moment or something. I was expecting something to sort of land or give me something what I wanted. Let me say this too, by the way. I will say this with issue 17, and I stopped here because I want to call this issue out. I'm sorry. Javi Fernandez's art kind of does loses some quality with issue 17. I don't know what happened with issue 17. There's this character that Brimstone's interacting with, and Brimstone's lack of details here a couple of times. Oh, there it is. Her name is Morana. some of these panels were not as good. Like this, there's some like Terry looks off a couple times. There's just some things here that just did not feel right. That shot with Terry right here with the bug eyes, did that translate? Yeah, you see it. Just issue 17 just went all wacky, and so here's Behemoth. He throws down with Behemoth, but to what end? Right? It doesn't. A theme that doesn't matter. Like it didn't. It's like stay tuned till next time, and you're like, okay, well, how many till next times? Because it till next time works if there's going to be a transition to the story or like something else is going to happen. But I don't feel like it ever really does. Oh, by the way, it just keeps going too. Like, so, okay, so let's go to issue 18. In issue 18, we got Kingslayer, and you have sort of this, we're going to finally see some conflict. We're going to finally see some of this and whatever. And he's drawn like this. Like head was weird. You have this where he's thrown away. It's just drawn odd. I don't know. I didn't care for any of this. I was really, again, more Psalms 137. It's like, oh my gosh, issue 18. It's like we're tying back to issue. But we're not tying back in a way where I'm that interested. I'm just not. And I don't know why it's taking this long to get to something that I care more about. But I just don't. I don't want to say I've checked out completely. That's not fair. But we're 18 issues in, and we're still sort of like bumbling through similar plot threads with not a lot of character development. How different is Al now from issue 1? Terry from issue 1, the different characters that have come in and played. Is there any real major stuff happening to any of them? At least with Scorched and Gunslinger, you're seeing changes with a lot of characters and things like that. So that's my take on it. It's not as much of a hate as it seems, but I can say I'm not nearly looking forward to reading the next King Spawn issue as I am jumping back on Gunslinger and even Scorched, which I hear that's kind of dwindled off a bit, but I'm enjoying the ride. So that's my take on it. You guys will correct me. You guys will right the ship for me. Tell me what you think. All right, Pops.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing.